With several defeats at the hands of the Iconians, the Alpha Quadrant Alliance is looking for alternatives and leads as to how to gain some upper hand against this ancient foe. Based on information retrieved from the Delta Alliance we'd helped set up months earlier, Captain Kagran contacts us with a potential thread to follow.
We have a lead on the Krenim. Voyager went to Krenim space looking for them a few months ago, but didn't find much more than a Vaadwaur and some anomalous sensor readings. But now, we found a Ferengi selling what he claims are Krenim artifacts. You are authorized to negotiate with the Ferengi and obtain these artifacts. Follow the trail where it leads. We need a weapon against the Iconians, and the Vaadwaur have gone to a great deal of trouble to keep whatever secrets the Krenim have out of our hands.
We set course for Drozana Station on the Federation Klingon border, a year earlier the site of a recurring conflict between the two powers, not to mention a serious infestation of Davidians. As for the Vaadwaur Kagran mentioned, we've spent months engaged in a war with them as they swept across the Delta Quadrant, ruining other competing powers. But their first target had been the Krenim Imperium, almost wiping them out completely it seems. Although we found out that the Vaadwaur were working with the Iconians, in a roundabout kind of way, we never discovered why they hit the Krenim first. Now, viewers of Star Trek Voyager will remember the Year of Hell two-parter that heavily features the Krenim's temporal weapons, and we are aware from Empress Seela's information that the Iconian minds cannot handle time travel, so there's an obvious link there. But the thing is, the Year of Hell was undone by the USS Voyager so that it never happened. As a result, information on the Krenim is sparse, and in-universe there is little understood about them, although there probably still are traces and echoes of their temporal interference. As of right now, however, we're on our way to meet this Ferengi trader to acquire this Krenim artifact. Considering the species that seems to have vanished, we'll take any lead we can get our hands on. Walking the corridors of Drozana Station reminds us of the night of the comet and the dingy interiors we had to crawl through last visit. Although nowhere near its original Starfleet vibrance, at least it looks cleaner and a lot more active in the upper levels. Specialist Pevro informs us that the Alliance has sent another captain who may be able to help us in this delicate deal, as the Latinum facilitator Quen is demanding is enough to buy a small moon.
May I help you? Oh, wait, you must be. I'm sorry, but the business facilitator is busy at the moment and cannot be disturbed.
Yeah, he's busy with us. We have an appointment.
Yes, but Quen left me explicit instructions about this. He's in the middle of a delicate negotiation to triple his profits on the sale of a rare Delta Quadrant artifact, and cannot be disturbed.
We could try to lie our way in and say that we've already finalised the price and it's already ours, or we can act coy about the financial backing of both the KDF and the Federation. I'm tempted to lie, but let's not start out with falsehoods.
Maybe, let's see, it was something Krenim, I think? Oh, Delta Quadrant treasures are all the rage right now. Artifacts from cultures the Vaadwaur wiped out are particularly valuable. Quen's made quite a bit of latinum bringing them back through the gateways. Now, that profit-sharing plan he promised me hasn't materialized, but is it my place to complain?
Well, I won't tell if you do. We could try to threaten her with breaking in, or we could be more polite. It is vitally important we meet with Mr. Quen, and perhaps we could maybe inquire on your behalf. Subtly, of course.
I'm sorry, but my instructions were very clear.
Miss Renner, is it? There must be something we can do. If not for Quen, then perhaps for you?
Well, I'm sorry, but I need this job. I'm trying to save up enough for a ticket off this station.
Well, it just so happens my ship has several empty guest quarters, and I can take you anywhere you want to go.
You can? What am I saying? You have a starship, of course you can. Go on ahead. Quen and the other buyer are in the cargo bay, but you better hurry. They were trying to get the deal finalized before you could stop them. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey, no problem. Just grab your things and my crew will make room for you. Hey, wait. What other buyer? What other buyer? Ah. Did we just steal his receptionist? I'm just saying that, that may have been altruistic, but stealing someone's receptionist is probably not a great way to start off a business relation with someone. I think we're here. In this storeroom full of goods at the far end, opposite our entry, we can see Quen in conversation with another Ferengi, flanked by 3 rather large Nausicaans.
Not so fast! The gentleman with the rather imposing associates over there has just made a very competitive offer for the device. Care to make a counterbid?
Are you trying to put us into a bidding war? Well, luckily for you, I have full authority to grab it. No, it's in the force field. As I was saying, I have full authority to negotiate.
You said there weren't any other buyers, Quinn. Now what do I see? Starfleet stooges here to cause trouble. Guards, get these riffraff out of here so I can conclude my deal in peace.
I'm sorry I didn't catch your name. Also, I really wouldn't try to force us out. So, we doing this? Okay then. Some more raiders come in from behind us at the request of their leader, while the 2 Ferengi cower and try their best not to get caught in the crossfire. The skirmish comes to an abrupt end when the last Nausicaan falls.
Fine! I'll add what I was going to pay those guards to my offer.
Hold it! I am Nog, son of Grand Nagus Ron. And I am a Ferengi. And when you deal with these people, you deal with me. You have a choice. Either deal with me, or I ask my father to have a word with the liquidators about your poor business practices.
Well, I'm sure we could come to an understanding.
That's what I thought. Now, kiss success. Get out! Not you, Quinn.
Cpt.NOG of the USS Chimera has had a distinguished career in security and engineering, and now command, although let's get this artifact secured first. Where were we, Quen?
Here's my best offer. How about we agree on a price, and you get your Delta Quadrant doodad, and I leave. Everyone's happy.
No.
No?
No.
Fine. How about I answer your questions and maybe then I get to leave? But let's get on with it. Every minute I stand here, I'm losing a strip of latinum. Time is a very valuable commodity.
Oh, you have no idea. But what can you tell me about this relic from the Delta Quadrant?
The device is Krenim in origin. Specifically, it's from the Krenim Imperium. Constructed sometime in the mid-22nd century, if I had to take a guess. Strange piece of technology. I haven't seen anything else like it. Highly advanced, and it has hallmarks of Krenim work. But it's, odd. Definitely odd.
And do you know what happened to the Krenim?
The Vaadwaur, that's what. At one point, the Krenim Imperium held more than 200 star systems in the Delta Quadrant. They lost some of that territory in a couple of wars, but overall they were doing well. Not the biggest business in the quadrant, but not the smallest either. When the Vaadwaur started their war, Gaul took a special interest in the Krenim. Bombed them back to the Stone Age, and then some. As far as anyone knows, the Krenim are basically extinct these days.
Yeah, we've heard the same. The Vardwar did a pretty thorough job. Where did you uncover this relic then?
I picked it up from a Talaxian who wanted to trade for supplies. He told me he got it from the Kayana system. That was it. There used to be a Krenim colony there, but it's gone now, just like the rest of their empire.
When you say gone, I'm assuming you mean bombed by the Vardwar.
The Talaxian wasn't very clear on that. He just said, gone. If I'd asked any more questions, he might have increased his price.
Strange. Is there anything else about it that we all need to know?
As a show of good faith to the son of the Nagus, I'm willing to tell you for free. But don't let this get around. It would ruin my reputation as a businessman. The device emits some unusual energy readings. The shielding may have malfunctioned, or maybe it's not fully operational anymore. I'm not sure. But that's why I'm selling it as an antique. As is, and no refunds.
Unusual energy readings. Did you perform a multi-spectrum scan to narrow down the exotic energy signatures?
Do I look like a member of the Vulcan Science Academy to you? I don't know. It's yours now. You paid for it. You figure it out. I hope it doesn't blow up your ship. Now, may I go so we can put all this unpleasantness behind us? I want to drown my sorrows in a comet cocktail and think about all the profit I didn't earn today.
Get out of here, Quen. Stay out of trouble. And, you may also want to look into recruiting a new receptionist and pay them a bit better. As Quen hurries away, we turn our attention to our unexpected guest. That was a rather dramatic entrance you made.
Don't let the staff of office and these good looks fool you. I'm here as a Starfleet officer, and I don't normally flaunt my family connections, but in this case, it seemed like the best way to solve the problem. So I borrowed my dad's second best staff.
Well, thanks for the assist, right man, for the job it seems. How is the artifact? Looking good? Wasn't damaged?
Interesting. I know Voyager encountered the Krenim during the journey, and Tuvok was looking for survivors of the Vardwar purges. For now, though, perhaps we should concentrate on learning what we can from this device.
Agreed, although there is still a force field covering it.
Quinn left without taking down his security, but fortunately I know how to get around it. This isn't a very sophisticated system. It's hardly worth the latinum he paid for it. If we overload the EPS conduits, we'll create a cascade failure in the system that the control protocols won't be able to handle. That should drop the force field.
Before we proceed, we can take the time to ask about Cpt.NOG. So, you're the son of the Grand Nagus.
It's true. My father is Grand Nagus Rom. I don't normally have much to do with his business dealings, but in this instance, a little show seemed to be the best way to solve our problem.
Interesting. How does the son of a Grand Nagus wind up in Starfleet?
I grew up on Deep Space Nine with my father and my uncle Quark. That was back before my dad became the Nagus. He was just a maintenance tech. Like my father, I preferred engineering to business. Captain Sisko helped me get into the Academy, the first Ferengi ever to join Starfleet. Then my Grand Mogi started seeing Grand Nagus Zek, and there were a lot of changes on Ferenginar. When Zek decided to retire, he thought my dad would be the right person to see them through.
Alternatively, we can ask for the short version of events, which kind of isn't actually that much shorter anyway.
I don't mind telling you a bit about myself at all. I grew up on Deep Space Nine with my father and my uncle Quark. That was back before my dad became the Nagus. He was just a maintenance tech. Like my father, I preferred engineering to business. And Captain Sisko helped me get into the Academy, the first Ferengi ever to join Starfleet. I fought in the Dominion War, which is an experience I never want to repeat, and I spent some time on exploration ships. Then it was back to DS9 for a while, off to Utopia Planitia to work with the SCE, and finally taking command of the Chimera. Now I get to see the technology I helped develop at work in the field.
I did a personnel file on NOG if you want to see his full breakdown, and it does include a lot of non-canon but official content such as his career path in STO. Suffice to say, he worked alongside the Corps of Engineers in 2405 to develop the Chimera class, which he then was promoted to Captain of in 2409.
I think you can overload the EPS conduits in the corner there. Now that the power flow is disrupted, we can override the administrative access requirement. The controls are... Yes! over here by the artifact. Excellent. Now we can get a good look at this. Think I'm getting something. This is definitely Krenim in origin. And Quinn was right on the age. I'm also seeing some repeating elements in the base code, almost like a signature. And that strange energy Quinn was talking about is actually chronotons. A lot of chronotons. And chronotons mean temporal manipulation. This little box just got a lot more interesting.
So this is something to do with time travel. I hate temporal mechanics.
I'll take the device back to my ship, the Chimera, and have a look while we're on the way to the Kiana system. From what I understand, Voyager sent an away team to the Kiana system a few weeks ago, but they encountered some resistance and were forced to pull back before they can find what they were looking for. But now that we have this, maybe we'll be able to find what remains of the Krenim, if there's anything left to find.
The mission he's referring to was likely the top secret one that the Kubali-fired Harry Kim duplicate almost ruined.
I've explored many places as a Starfleet officer, but this is my first time seeing the Delta Quadrant. According to Quinn, the Krenim artifact came from this system. I hope we haven't come all this way just to chase ghosts.
No, those are back on Trezana.
I've had a chance to look at the Krenim device, although I'm not sure how to activate it yet. It's definitely designed for temporal manipulation, although I don't think it would enable someone to travel through time. It's almost like a step sideways, if that makes any sense at all. I'll keep working on it and let you know if I learn anything more.
Yeah, well, hopefully this former Krenim colony system will yield something we can use.
Voyager's preliminary scans of this system turned up a number of anomalies, but nothing conclusive. According to Krenim records, though, there's supposed to be an M-class planet in this system. We're not reading anything like that on the sensors.
Not to be a negative Nautican, but there is quite a lot of rocky debris in this system. Do we think that could have maybe once been a planet? Gaul, as leader of the Vaadwaur, was nothing if not overzealous.
Could be. Let's check that wreckage out first. It might give us a better idea of what happened out here. And we should be on the lookout for Vaadwaur. Preliminary scans indicate they've been actively patrolling through this system. Keep an eye out for Vaadwaur. They're still patrolling this area.
So, with the powerful USS Chimera as escort, we set course for the first point of interest, an amalgam of twisted wreckage floating in space, maybe the remains of an orbital facility of some sort. According to what records we have, Kiana Prime, the missing planet, was inhabited since at least the late 22nd century by the Krenim Imperium. In the year of Hale, it was home to Anoraks, but was rendered uninhabited by temporal changes. Maybe something similar has happened again. Then again, if that were the case, why do we have records of it existing at all? I have a sinking feeling that this debris field may actually be the remains of the planet. We carefully approach the wreckage.
If I had to place a bet, I'd say that wreckage is where this artifact was found. Heads up! Vaadwaur on an intercept course!
A single scout ship enters the system, its approach masked by interference from the asteroid field. Without so much as a hello there, they open fire. It seems taking out Gaul lessened their hostilities, but it didn't nullify their attempted conquest entirely. With the combined firepower of the Armiger and Chimera, the poor scout doesn't actually last that long. However, we cannot tell if we got a message out, so we best conclude our scans and hurry along.
The wreckage appears to be Krenim. The weapon signatures are definitely Vaadwaur. According to Voyager, the Krenim were a fairly small society. There had to be a reason the Vaadwaur went out of their way to target them. Let's move. There might be more ships in range.
We drift past the debris and rock, scanning as we go. These were among some of the first systems hit by the Vaadwaur in the Delta Quadrant before they focused their attention on the Kubali. The Vaadwaur hit with overwhelming force, destroying every Imperium facility they could find before word spread of the Vaadwaur's resurgence. By the time Starfleet made its way to the Delta Quadrant, the Krenim were practically gone.
There are more Vaadwaur on an intercept course, but we may be able to avoid them. I suggest we use the mineral content of the asteroids I've marked to conceal our energy signatures. Vaadwaur sensors aren't as good as ours. Most of their technological advantage appears to be directed toward making better weapons. So it should work. as long as we don't attract their attention before we get out of their path.
So we make note of a large enough asteroid with a hollow in it to jet towards to hide from the approaching ships.
Harold! They must be looking for that Vaadwaur patrol. I don't think those heralds detected us. Let's hope they don't come back this way.
Iconian scouts. So, are they still working beside the Vaadwaur, or do they have their own interests in this system? Interesting. We set a course for the only remaining planetoid in range, the moon, or former satellite, of Kayana Prime.
Herald's inbound! The Vaadwaur must have gotten a signal out. So much for our investigation.
The USS Chimera powers up and charges in, so we follow suit. Fortunately, it's only one Herald vessel, and our combined power is enough to shut it down before things escalate. But it's a clear indicator that our time here is limited. Contacting NOG, we make a plan of action.
There was something about the Krenim that was such a threat to the Vaadwaur and the Iconians that they're still patrolling the old Krenim systems. If we can find more Krenim technology, or maybe unlock what we have, we might be able to find out what is so important. That could be something the Alliance can use against the Iconians. I recommend that the Chimera and your ship patrol the outer system while we take an away team to the surface. I'll bring the device and keep trying to learn more about it.
Agreed. As the two ranking officers here, it's only right that we both beam down to an unknown environment with a leaking time doohickey and poke
This doesn't
around.
make sense. There's nothing here that would cause the readings I was seeing from orbit, but there are traces of chronotron particles. I've never known chronotrons to appear naturally without some sort of temporal manipulation going on, but there's nothing here. I'm starting to come up with a theory, but I need some more data. I recommend we take some additional scans.
Yeah, chronotrons very rarely occur naturally, so there must be something here emanating them.
Exactly, but we need to be quick. Those patrols we encountered in orbit will be missed soon. I'm going to order the Chimera to try to avoid contact, but warn us if more ships arrive.
So, this moon does have a breathable atmosphere. Perhaps a lucky find on the Krenim's part centuries ago, or the result of terraforming. However, apart from the air, this moon's surface is very barren. An eerie green glow permeates the sky, and great crystalline structures jut from the surface. Every now and then a deep rumbling can be heard, its source unknown, maybe tectonic, maybe wind.
These tall spires are charged with temporal energy.
You mean these giant crystalline structures, these temporal lattices, these time crystals?
Curious. It's almost like it's in a state of temporal flux. There are more mineral deposits over there. There's a resonant frequency here that's not natural. I'm reading another anomaly ahead. These anomalies have a shape, like a warp field, but not quite the same.
This landscape extends to the horizon, interrupted only by the undulating rocky ground, raising to a distant mountain range. However, if my eyes aren't deceiving me, I can see stars behind these mountains, as if they themselves are made from the same crystals, refracting their light to a green hue.
The only other place I've seen sensor readings like this was in the wormhole.
Wormholes can create strong temporal effects, but just as we seem to be getting somewhere, Commander Tarsi calls down with a warning. Iconians incoming.
There, behind those rocks. Hurry, they'll be here any moment. This area looks defensible. Get ready. I have an idea. We need to use the device. I've been trying to activate it and I've almost got it. Keep them busy. If I can get it working, I should be able to conceal us.
Alright, I'll trust you know what you're doing, just be quick about it, please.
Here they come!
What unfolds now is a long battle of King of the Hill. We need to keep the Herald forces away from Nog as he tinkers with the strange device. Clearly he has a theory, but there's not time to explain it, so now we're just going to have to watch his back. There are 3 avenues down which enemy forces gate in, but realistically only 2 choke points to defend at close range. What starts out as a tactical placement of my away team quickly dissolves into a chaotic melee, which ultimately kinda works better as we have a wider range of movement. The number of Herald forces continues to increase as we take them down, and soon teleporting thralls are appearing among the constructs, and they dart in to root us out.
More reinforcement need more time to align these frequencies. Almost there. Just one more connection and that should...
Nog? The Ferengi captain vanishes in an instant, and with nothing left to protect, we make the call to break from our dead end and dash away. Picking the northeastern pathway, we move between the rocks and crystals to evade the swarming heralds. However, distance to the Iconians means nothing, and more gating in our path. Nevertheless, we continue onwards trying to stay ahead of the pursuing forces, and eventually we see a likely looking cave. Immediately, however, far more enemy forces appear and force us back into cover. It seems the Iconians really don't want interlopers in this system, or anyone leaving with whatever secrets may be here. We hold out for as long as we can, but I'm not going to lie, unless we can get an evacuation going, this is not going to end well. What the Captain Nog?
If you'll forgive the pun, I managed to buy us some time.
We are right where we were, I think, but that greenish hue that shrouded the planet has definitely increased somewhat. And now there are structures and buildings everywhere, and people and the Iconians look like ghosts, and... Captain Nog, please explain.
It's taken me some time to convince the Krenim to help us, but they finally agreed. Remember how I said the device could remove someone from the time stream? It did. That's where we are now, in the temporal bubbles, and how we perceive time in here is a little different than outside. That's why the heralds can't see us. We're out of their timelines, out of all timelines, in fact. While we're here, it's almost like we don't exist.
So we've been cut out of reality and are in a pocket of time, so we don't exist? Is that good?
No one's shooting at us. I think that's a good thing. The Krenim are... they're a little touchy. Almost being driven to extinction by the Vaadwaur has made them suspicious. But they're willing to talk to us if we help them stabilize the temporal energy. I suggest we help. I wouldn't want to be in here if the fields collapse.
Okay, so this place isn't stable. I presume this is the Krenim in charge? Hi, Admiral Hale.
I've had some time to observe you and Cpt.NOG, and your actions make it clear that you are no friend of the Vaadwaur or the Heralds. This does not, however, assure me that you will be allies to my people. The Krenim have lost much. Our empire is gone, and our people have been killed or scattered. We are what remains, and I will do whatever I must to protect this system, even if it means leaving you to face the Heralds alone.
Your position is understandable, so what can we do to prove that we could help?
You have already repaired some of our emitters that were damaged by the attack, but there is more yet to do. Should our temporal equipment fail, this location will be instantly overrun by Heralds. If that happens, none of us will survive.
Emitters? Those crystalline structures, I see. If you'd like to know more, pick the dialogue option that says, wait, you are watching us?
Our time stream is approximately half a second off real time. We found that's all that's needed to conceal our presence from our enemies. We can observe what happens in real time, as well as the possibilities that come from alteration of the timeline. Perhaps if we'd made different decisions, we would be able to confront the Vaadwaur as directly as you do. Alas, they overwhelmed our defenses too quickly, and we lost our fleets and most of our worlds. Now I fear that altering this present would come at too great a price.
You're talking about altering the timeline. This always has universe-shaping repercussions.
The scientist who developed this technology did so to try and correct a terrible tragedy that befell our people. But no matter what he did or how many alterations he made to the timeline, he was never able to completely restore all that was lost. It was as if time itself fought against him. Ultimately, His quest was a failure. But remnants of his work remained, and we have used those to protect what is left of the Imperium.
You said you didn't want to pay too high a price. I'm curious, with time travel, what defines that?
I've had some time to observe you and Cpt.NOG, and your actions make it clear that you are no friend of the Vaadwaur or the Heralds. This does not, however, assure me that you will be allies to my people. The Krenim have lost much. Our empire is gone, and our people have been killed or scattered. We are what remains, and I will do whatever I must to protect this system, even if it means leaving you to face the Heralds alone.
Right, so what can we do to help?
More of our emitters must be realigned, and there are other pieces of equipment my people are already working to repair. Assist my team, and then we will talk again.
So we set about repairing this moon colony. Walking among the ghostly heralds is an eerie event. They drift around searching for us, but they cannot detect our presence as we move just out of phase with their timeline, their echoes never catching up to us. This must be similar to how the Davidians perceive things. Occasionally we hear the sound of spatial gateways opening up as more search parties appear, but they too pass ignorant of our presence. As we help in repairing the colony, we can speak to the local Krenim technicians regarding this temporal tech and its origin.
Hold this. No, hold it right next to the bracket, or the spanner won't... There. Got it, thanks. Something is putting too much stress on these components. I'm not sure what it is, but we don't have enough spare parts to keep rebuilding this transceiver. Grab a tricorder and run a level 3 diagnostic. Maybe there are some microfractures. If we can find and repair those, this should hold out until I can fabricate a new unit.
This tech does seem pretty fragile. What can you tell me about it?
Anorax's original designs are for a temporal field that's big enough for a ship.
The temporal technology was developed by a scientist named Anorax.
We've adapted the tech to cover much larger areas, but that makes the field more unstable.
He's still a mystery, even to us. We know he was a ship commander in the Imperium fleet and a genius in temporal mechanics, and that he started work on his inventions in the late 22nd century.
The Imperium was at its peak in the mid-22nd century. At that time, it controlled more than 900 planets, and our territory spread across more than 5,000 parsecs. Then came the Rilnar, and the Zal, and the Garanor, the Mawasi, and the Nahydron.
After our war with the Rilnar, perhaps he saw temporal manipulation as a way to change our fortunes. We know he was working towards weaponizing his designs, and I can tell from what little I've seen that it is possible. But full access to his data is restricted, so I don't know the full capabilities of his work.
Our wars chipped away at us, carving one planet after another away from the Imperium. There were only 27 planets left when the Vaadwaur came. Now, almost everyone on those worlds is gone too.
And we had to get everything operational before the Vaadwaur found us. So we cut some corners. A lot of corners. We're making updates and repairs as fast as we can, but we can't afford a failure. This tech is the only thing keeping us alive.
So, it sounds like this military inventor created great strides in Krenim time travel with plans to weaponize it, but this never came to pass. Again, this is because of the Year of Hale, an event of which Voyager completely wiped from existence. But we're not supposed to know that because time travel, although clearly some echoes of his work remain in Krenim society, leading them to develop the tech that we have now, this temporal displacement bubble. The repairs proceed unobstructed, and if you do get stuck, Cpt.NOG is eager to tell you what you can and cannot do, making this process really rather simplistic.
You'll need to formulate an epoxy. Here, I can show you which formula to use.
Your fight overloaded some of the power couplings we used to moderate the temporal flow. If we had a contained space like the technology was originally designed for, this wouldn't be a problem. But we keep pushing the boundaries of what these flow modulators will do. I'm rerouting the power to take stress off the damaged couplings. But first, we need to get this capacitor aligned and ready for the transfer.
When we're done, we can return to Pross.
You've shown you're willing to help. Now perhaps we can come to a mutually beneficial arrangement. We have Anarax's plans, but not the... Interesting. The Heralds are opening a gateway. The repairs should be enough.
I beg mercy, Great One. It appears they used a cloaking device and escaped.
You are forgiven. Make preparations to depart.
As you command.
An interesting development.
These sentients have proven to be resourceful. Already they have thwarted our plan to bring in the Solanae fleet. Their struggles are meaningless. And yet they injured even you, Ticket. I advise caution. They are more dangerous than they appear. We should render worlds asunder. Spill them with blood until it fills the oceans. It is time to strike. I understand you want vengeance, but we must not act in haste.
We will continue with our plan. The whole must be as one. The whole must be as one. The attack on Iconia broke our unity. We were divided, diminished, weak. The others saved us from oblivion, but it took centuries to rebuild our bonds. We cannot risk more loss. The whole must be as one. The campaign will continue as planned.
They couldn't see us? There were Iconians right in front of us and nothing! They had no idea we were here. We were completely safe.
This is a very useful discovery. As the Iconian search parties finally give up and leave, we resume our conversation with Pross.
The only protection left to my people is our ability to manipulate time. But it is something we must do with great care. Even the most innocuous of changes can ripple through reality in unexpected ways.
This is very advanced and delicate temporal manipulation you're talking about here.
My people and I have made Anarax's theories of temporal manipulation our lives' work. In at least one temporal variant, his ship made the Krenim Imperium the undisputed masters of this region of space. If only we could recreate that vessel.
Not sure I like the sound of that. What vessel?
Anarax designed a ship, a wondrous vessel that could manipulate the time streams and erase elements in an attempt to bring about a desired result. Our records show that he even attempted to use this vessel to restore the Krenim's fortunes, but he was defeated by an unknown alliance. Afterward, the Krenim Imperium declined, as perhaps was its fate all along. We were diminished, but content to let time progress as it would. Until the Vaadwaur.
Yeah, the destruction of all your colonies at the hands of the Vaadwaur. I can see why time travel might suddenly be tempting again.
The first Krenim worlds to fall managed to warn the others. When the Vaadwaur came, we hid ourselves in the time stream. It was the only way we survived. Before the Vaadwaur arrived, we were working on a relic. It was a replica of Anarax's time ship. With it, we could have gone back and eliminated the Vaadwaur threat before it even began.
So, Anarax's work never progressed beyond theory in his final timeline, but what's stopping you from building it now? You're very well concealed from any threats.
The Vaadwaur's assault on the Imperium took too much from us. Now we possess Anarax's work, but not the means to bring it to life. You have seen what our technology can do. We have the designs. You have the manpower and the materials. Perhaps your governments would be interested in mutual cooperation. Allow us a chance to undo what the Vaadwaur did, and we will give you something that will erase your enemies from time itself.
You know, it's refreshing to be the one being offered an alliance for once, but still, talk of such a powerful temporal weapon, I'm not sure how I feel about that level of technology.
There's more here than what you've seen.
You've hidden the entire planet?
Yes, we removed ourselves from the time stream to stay alive. With your help, we can change everything.
You hid an entire planet, but you can't build this time ship on your own?
We have the plans. Our resources are almost gone.
We have shipyards, workers, and all the materials you could need.
Precisely. We revealed ourselves to you as a gesture of good faith. What will you do in return?
For a start, this is something the entire Alliance needs to be part of.
The Iconians and the Heralds are gone. It's safe to resync with our time and contact our ships. But this is huge. A whole Krenim colony that survived the Vaadwaur? One that has temporal technology that even the Iconians can't counter? A weaponized time ship that can erase entire civilizations like they never existed? This could change the entire war. We could have a chance now.
Undeniably, we could have a chance. But bringing such a device into the fray, something that could wipe out entire cultures, this needs careful consideration. With that, we beam back to the Armiger and depart the system as the Krenim hide once more. Unsurprisingly, Commander Tarsi is rather taken aback at the sudden reappearance of an entire planet immediately in front of her. We've got some explaining to do.
Temporal mechanics is not a complication we need, but this weapon they are proposing sounds intriguing. You and Cpt.NOG were correct in thinking the Alliance would be interested in investigating such a thing. Personally, I approve of anything the Iconians might fear. Qapla'!
So, there we have it. The Krenim, or at least what's left of them, have not only the technology to hide us from the Iconians, but also perhaps the key to removing them from history altogether. But what would that look like? What are the repercussions of such a device? One thing is for certain, however, the Krenim are desperate and it's only a matter of time before they share Anorax's plans with someone else, so for now we better ally with them. Besides, helping them out seems like the right thing to do, I just have reservations. Still, it's definitely the first weakness we've uncovered in their thinking after finding fault with our own tactics for so long, so it's one we need to explore, and I hope you'll be there for the next episode of the Star Trek Online Story series as we do just that. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again for the next part of the ever-changing narrative of Star Trek Online. I've been Rick. Thanks again, and goodbye.